The story of Midwest Emo is a long and complicated one. The scene finds its roots in the coming of age, youthful, yearning lyrics of emo music mixed with the instrumentals of math rock, finding solace in growing up in the emotions it causes. It connects with many teens and young adults who find comfort in the stories of breakups, connection, and the hardships of life at that age. Particularly, I want to speak on three bands and three albums, one by each band, and the genius of these albums. But let's start in the beginning, the second wave of emo. Midwestern emo first came onto the scene in the mid to late 90s, headlined by bands like American Football and Sunny Day Real Estate, with their iconic albums LP1 and Diary. I want to focus mainly on LP1, the first album by American Football. LP1 was written, recorded, produced, and mastered in 4 days in Champaign, Illinois by four college students at the University of Illinois. This album is the centerpiece of Midwest Emo, and around 1 year after the album's release, American Football disbanded to pursue their own lives after their graduations. This album portrays a story of breakups, coming of age, and navigating the ever changing emotions of life. It speaks on the depression and loneliness felt after heartbreak, which connects so well with many teens. And the album has become a staple of many people's teen years. I first heard this album when I was 15 years old and I was going through heartbreak. It connected with me because I felt hopeless, like I would never feel that love again. The heartfelt lyrics and melancholic guitar riffs mixed with the brass in many of the songs gave me a feeling of comfort, and like I wasn't the only one who's felt like this. Over the years since, I've continued to come back to this album. It has this amazing nostalgic feeling to it, even though it wasn't long ago that I was listening to it for the first time. Songs like Never Meant, I'll See You When We're Not So Emotional, and You Know I Should Be Leaving Soon are able to capture this intense feeling that most teens live with. It invokes the ideas of not knowing what's coming next and guilt over the past in a way that many can't explain. It might be the message in these songs or the miracle that was the making of this album, but somehow this college band from Champaign, Illinois has been able to stay extremely relevant for the past 25 years. If you've ever heard of Midwest Emo, you've probably seen the LP One House or heard the iconic intro of Never Meant, and the legacy of these four Illinois alumni will live on for many years to come. After LP1's release and the band's breakup, the scene of Midwest emo faded into message boards, forums, and small gigs by local bands in the Midwest area. These holdouts of a time past held on to LP1, continuing its legacy as a new era of emo music arrived, with the angst of bands like My Chemical Romance and Pierce the Veil. The largely underground scene of Midwest emo looked to be a thing of the past until a reemergence began. Around the late 2000s, a small resurgence of Midwest emo had begun, with bands like Tiger Jaw releasing albums, but no one could have expected what would come next. The next band I would like to talk about is one that you probably know if you've heard of Midwest emo before, Modern Baseball. Modern Baseball started in Philadelphia in the year 2011, taking obvious inspiration from LP1 as you can see in their names. A year later, in 2012, they released their debut album, Sports. The success of this album put Midwest emo back on the main stage of emo music. The topics of this album can be seen in the first song, Redo, where the vocalist, Brendan Lukens, outlines the story of a young adult, guilty about the mistakes made in his past, and scared of what's to come. The other topic that is throughout the album can be seen in the next song, Tears Over Beers. This song defined the teen years for many, with its relatable lyrics of heartbreak, yearning, and loneliness. The song outlines a girl that Lukens is interested in, Erin, but she doesn't reciprocate these feelings. It outlines the yearning he feels for her and the heartbreak he feels at her disinterest in him. This song connects with so many young adults and teens because of its relatability. As the album goes on, Lukens is able to accurately convey that he's coming to terms with the fact that he will never be with Erin, but that he will also never stop falling in love. The band is able to accurately portray the feeling of acceptance and growing past your prior mistakes. It's beautiful how this album was able to precisely portray the emotions of youthfulness and navigating life and heartbreak to a teenage me. The last band I'm going to talk about is one that's very dear to me, and in my opinion is the most emotionally vulnerable and crushing band I've talked about. Merchant Ships. Merchant Ships was formed by four friends from South Bend, Indiana. The band finds its inspiration in local screamo bands like Lions of the North and popular emo band La Dispute. Vocalist Jack Sanford recounts a story where he saw Lions of the North play a basement show and he realized, quote, "That's what I want to do. I want to scream just like that." Senf then formed the band Merchant Ships with his best friend Dwayne as the drummer and recruited Nick Stutzman and Michael Gerstein as guitarists and bassists respectively. They released a couple EPs from 2008 to 2010 when they broke up for the first time. Senf and Stutzman then formed the band Midwest Pen Pals, who released one EP, inside jokes that is vital to Merchant Ship's story. Songs like Austin's House tell the tale of how they broke up. After straight edge members of the band were founded a house, Austin's House, that was notorious for drug use and parties. In mid 2010, the band got back together again and signed to a label. They then released the EP that I want to talk about today, For Cameron. This EP tells the story of suicide, trauma, backstabbing, and forgiveness in a way that no other band has ever done for me. Songs like Dying and Sleep Patterns crush listeners' spirits every time they play and are able to be so emotionally vulnerable. Personally, if there was a Midwest Emo Mount Rushmore, I would put singer Jackson front and center on it for his contributions to the genre. In conclusion, Midwest Emo has this unique way of encapsulating all the emotions of growing up. As the rest of this video plays out, the official music video for Merchant Ship's Sleep Patterns will play. Full credit to the members of Merchant Ships for this video, and I'm showing it because it is, in my opinion, a video that every fan of Midwest Emo should see. Emotions conveyed in these songs can be from sadness and heartbreak, and on the other side of the spectrum, hopeful and accepting. Many, including myself, can find comfort in the whiny, emotional sounds of Midwest Emo. Thank you so much for watching.
September 9, 2001. Gary and I were skating at a hospital on top of a huge hill overlooking a valley. An ambulance came in and took out a dead woman. Gary asked me why she wasn't moving or blinking. They hadn't closed her eyes yet. She must have died on the way. A car full of family and friends came in with the ambulance. They were all crying and hugging each other. One woman screamed hysterically and grabbed at the woman's body, asking her to wake up. I had to tell Gary that her soul went to heaven. I didn't believe a word of it, but I knew it'd be easier for him to understand. 2 days from now, at 9 a.m., planes will hit the World Trade Center, killing over 3,000 people. I will tell Gary that there is no God, and all of this is meaningless. But today, there is a God, and He has a plan for him. He doesn't know it, but a year from now, our family will be torn apart, and I will move far away and won't see or talk to him for 5 years. And as we sit on the hood of our car, the sun goes down, and he asks me what I want out of my life. I tell him I don't know.
On and on we run away from the things we are afraid of. On and on we run away from the things we are afraid of. On and on we run away from the things we are afraid.
I don't tell him about the dream I had the night before, where I'm riding in a car full of strangers and singing to some song I've never heard and smoking a cigarette when we swerve off the road and hit a tree. I go through the windshield and hit the edge of a fence, dislocating my jaw and flipping me into a wall where my neck is broken and my skull is fractured. I bleed to death in excruciating pain. I will have this dream periodically until I meet all of the strangers one by one, introducing them all to each other until we are a close group of friends. I will set these events in motion and I will die. But today, in the warm light of the sunset, I don't see it. I just see the sunset. I smile back and shake my head. I have absolutely no idea. I am afraid.